Here's what logo variations actually look like in the real world. You've got your Starbucks emblem, the green circle with the siren, and then just the word mark. Same brand, different formats. And that is exactly what we're diving into today. Maybe this is you, and you have one logo, one format, and you've been putting it everywhere. Your website, your Instagram profile picture, your packaging, the corner of your web invoice, and wondering why it always looks a little off somewhere. Here's the thing, it's not a you problem, it's a one logo problem, because one logo was never meant to do everything. This is a really common misconception in small businesses and new brands, that you get one logo in one format, that's it, that's your brand, done. And honestly, it makes sense that people think this way, because as a consumer, you don't really notice it. You see the logo on the storefront, the website, on the packaging, and it all just works. You don't realize you're actually looking at 3 or 4 different variations of the same logo. But here's what's actually happening behind the scenes. The brand you love have a whole system of logo variations, each one designed for a specific space and purpose. A logo variation is not a different logo. Let's get that part clear from the start. It's the same brand, the same fonts, the same colors, the same visual DNA, just rearranged, simplified, or adapted to fit a specific context. Think of it like your wardrobe. You're still you, whether you're in a blazer for a meeting or in a t-shirt on a Saturday morning. Same person, different presentation. The goal of logo variations is flexibility without losing consistency. Your brand should be immediately recognizable, wherever it shows up, whether that may be a massive billboard or a tiny 16 by 16 pixel browser tab. Let's break down the core variations most brands need. First, you got your primary logo. That is your full, main, most detailed version. It is usually your brand name with maybe a tagline and an icon or graphic element. This is your go-to for things like your website proposals, printed materials, signage. Then there's your secondary or stacked logo. Same elements as your primary, just rearrange, usually vertically instead of horizontally, or horizontally instead of stacked. This is useful when the space doesn't suit your primary logo. Next is the submark, or brand mark if you like. This is where things get really useful. Your submark is a simplified version or condensed version of your logo, often just an icon, a monogram, or initials. It's designed to live in the small space where your full logo won't work, like social media profile pictures, website footers, watermarks, stickers, embroidery on a cap. Then, next, you have your word mark. And this is the format which is just your brand name, no icon. Clean, simple, and it's great for products, labels, anywhere where you want your name to speak for itself without visual clutter. And finally, we have the favicon in your browser tab. Small but mighty. It keeps your brand present even if somebody has 17 tabs open. Now, these aren't set rules by any means. There are a lot of other types of logo variations, and every brand won't meet all of them. It really comes down to what your brand needs and where it's showing up. The honest reason for why logo variations matter is one logo cannot do all of these jobs well. Your primary logo might look fabulous on your website, but if you squish it down to a 150 by 150 profile picture, it suddenly is an illegible blur. If you embroider it on a cap, the detail disappears. stick it in a browser tab favicon, and nobody can tell what it is. Logo variations is not about having more logos. They're about making sure that your brand shows up clearly and consistently wherever it needs to be. You're the same brand every time, just wearing the right outfit for the occasion. Let's look at Starbucks. Their primary logo, the green circle with a siren, shows up on their cups, their aprons, the outside signage. But if you look a little closer, you will notice the word mark, just the Starbucks name. It is also on the outside signage and often is working alongside the circle emblem. And that also shows up sometimes completely on its own, on merchandise, the napkins, social media posts. Sometimes the two work together and sometimes they work apart. And yet, every single time, you know exactly whose brand you're looking at. Now, looking at Nike. Nike started with the swoosh alongside the Nike word mark. That's the full combination. Over time, the brand grew and the swoosh became one of the most recognized symbols on the planet, and they dropped the word mark completely. By 1955, it was just the swoosh. No name, none was needed. The swoosh and the word mark are two completely different looking things. One is a graphic symbol and the other is just text. But together and separately, you know immediately it's Nike. The unity isn't in them looking identical. It is in the consistent colors, in the consistent design language, and the feeling that they create. That is what logo variations are really about. Unity doesn't mean every version of your logo has to look the same. It means they all feel the same. The same colors, the same fonts, the same personality, just adapted for the space that they're living in. If you've been working with one single logo file and forcing it into every corner of your brand, it might be time to build out your logo system. Not because your logo isn't good, but because your brand deserves to show up properly everywhere. Thank you for watching.